Oops. Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at liftrunlong. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, you should be, because we want you to be there. Search for Lift Heavy Run Long Community and request to join right now. My name is Wilson Horrell. I am one of your hosts. I want to remind you that the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast is not censored, so listen at your own risk. Lift Heavy Run Long has an app, and we want you to be on it. For $3.99, you can be part of that app, and you will have access to the greatest trainer in the world, Ms. Valerie Hunt of RunRx.fit, and you will have 3 bodyweight exercises, 4 barbell strength exercises, and 4 WODs delivered to your calendar every week. For $9.99 a month, you can have access to all the programs that Lift Heavy Run Long has to offer, everything from 5Ks to 100-mile distances, to triathlons, to Spartan races. If you go to liftheavyrunlong.com and click the Sign Up Now button at the very top, you can go and read about all of the programs. Enter your email address and you'll have a free week of any of the programs that you'd like to try. At the end of that week, if you do not want to sign up, then you do nothing, and we'll simply take you off the app and it will go away. There's no credit card required. No down payment, nothing like that. No hassle.
No junk emails?
No junk emails.
Oh, that's amazing.
No junk emails.
Nope. The goal of Lift Heavy Run Long is to bring fitness to as many people as possible, as inexpensively as possible. So if you or someone you know does not have $3.99 a month and you think that fitness would enhance the quality of your life or someone else's life, then please email me at wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com, and I'll be more than happy to add you to the app free of charge. I have, sitting next to my right, the most beautiful woman in the world, Dr. Amanda Kimsey Horrell, jacked in 10.
What's up?
How are you?
I'm excellent.
Good. What were we just talking about? Before I rudely interrupted Vaughn. Tomorrow night.
Oh, we're going to see Aziz.
Aziz. What's his last name?
I think it's Anari.
The guy from Parks and Recreation.
I thought it was Ansari, but I don't know.
Is that Ansari? I don't know.
I don't know.
Where is he playing?
I'm not
singing, talking. Where is he comedian in?
At
the Orpheum?
No, the other place. Starts with a C.
Cannon Center.
Cannon Center.
Okay.
The last time we went to the Orpheum, I got to the door and I was like, I have my gun in my on my hip. That's probably not good, is it?
Maybe not.
So I had to run like a mile to the car.
I can't believe you made it.
It's a good thing you've been training for that day.
And sorry.
You've been training that day for your whole life.
He's right. And sorry, I guess is how you say it. Brian's right. Aziz Ansari.
I don't know that's the proper way to pronounce it. I just know that's the way it's spelled.
Yeah.
So
there's a joke to be made.
Yeah, so Parks and Rec. Tom Haverford.
Tom Haverford is who we're going to see. The Reverend Vaughn Rawls.
Hey.
How are you?
I am excited.
What are you excited about?
I'm excited about so many different things. I bought a plane ticket to Canada yesterday.
Oh, you did? All right. One step closer.
Yeah, so I'm going to Canada, guys.
That's all we know at this point.
That's all we know at this point.
I like your haircut.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, looks good.
You got your passport.
I got my passport.
I don't think we discussed that last week. You officially got your passport, right?
I did get my passport.
So you are allowed to go to Canada. I'm
allowed to go,
You can
and I
legally
have a
enter
ticket.
the country now.
I have taken off work, so I'm going to Canada. I may not ever come back.
Well, the hard part's over. I mean, for you, we were talking about that this weekend, and we all agreed if you can get there, there's nothing that you won't. There's no hurdle waiting on you that you won't be able to cross. The hard part is the minor logistics of getting to the coordinates.
I'm going to get there.
And after that, you're locked in, and there's nothing you can do but continue.
I'm going in the day before. I have to be somewhere at noon the following day, and I don't know where I'm going to stay can you spend the night in an airport? Like, can I just, if I get to the airport, can I just sit there in the airport?
I mean, people waiting on flights all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. So, anyway, I'm getting there like 5 o'clock in the evening the day before. I have to be somewhere at noon on the next day. And so I found an Airbnb for like $40. Like, there's some cheap Airbnbs in this place. And my wife was like, you can't. We were like looking through pictures, like, oh, it looks like a room in a house. Like, that looks okay, right? Like, she's like,
Nothing sketchy.
It's Canada. Well, the reviews are good. Like what do you?
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, why would you? Canadians are like the nicest people in the world.
Are they?
Aren't
Steve,
they?
Steve says you're visiting the land of hosers, Wilson's homeland.
My best friend's from Canada.
Yeah, I mean,
He's nice.
every Canadian person that I've ever interacted with is like the most nicest person I've ever met.
I've got a good friend of mine that grew up in Seattle, and he talks a lot about the Canadians and how a lot of that culture kind of bleeds into Washington State, Seattle area.
Okay.
And basically, like, how in Memphis you come to a four-way stop and guaranteed somebody is going to jump out of turn because they're impatient.
Right.
Yeah.
In Seattle and
they
Canada,
just sit
they
there,
all sit there trying to
nobody
wave
moves.
the other person on. Like, no, you go. No,
See?
you go. No, you go. No, you go. Like, and they all just end up sitting there for 5 minutes.
So I'm not worried about a $30 Airbnb. I'll just go sit in the room for a few hours, go to get some sleep, and then you're on.
Well, I doubt you're going to be staying in luxurious, in a luxurious place after that. So if you can,
Right.
regardless of what I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, accommodations are, then $30 will be plenty to get you through.
Maybe
don't need a really
you should
nice
just
place.
like find an abandoned car to sleep in overnight, just to kind
Yeah.
of mentally
Yeah.
prep yourself for what you're about to
Find a
do.
nice pine tree.
Can you get an Uber and be like, hey, dude, can we just park how much does it cost to park in Walmart the rest of the night?
You need to go sleep in the woods and paint yourself in mud and just show up.
That show up and be
That
like,
would be awesome to
"Hey,
show
guys."
up, not in blackface, but in like camo face.
What's
like,
up, everybody?
I'm ready, guys.
I already
Let's do this.
slept in the woods.
Just be the hardcore guy. Just right off the
Just
bat.
be over the top, like from the start.
That's how you initiate charge.
And just show up naked, covered in mud.
You walk up to all the other guys standing around, just start pissing on people. I'm establishing dominance now. Just start pissing on them.
Oh, man. The best looking cameraman in the business, Big Thirsty, Brian Swanson.
What's up, guys?
How are you?
I am okay. How are you?
Tell me what's new.
Just got back from South Bend. Spring game was this weekend.
Yep.
Team looks solid.
Yep.
Actually, probably one of the bigger spring games that I've been to as far as attendance goes. It's kind of sad that Notre Dame can sell more tickets to a spring game than the American Alliance of Football Memphis Express could sell to any of their primetime games. It was a fun weekend with my kids, though, and annual tradition for us. Good times.
Nice.
Yeah.
Guess what we got this
Oh,
week?
I see it on your screen.
All big and shiny and
Oh, it's a
nice.
5-star review.
I forgot that we even
forgot they
had
We
that
did
exists.
thing.
not. It did not happen.
It did. You want me to read it?
Yes, of
I'm going
course
to.
you
I'm
should
so
read it.
excited about this. Oh, I haven't done this.
Oh,
in
it's so long.
Yeah.
How's this work again?
5-star review. Just call me King. Good listen. Enjoy the conversation. Hey, LHRL. My name is Daniel, and I really enjoy your podcast. Old Idiots Running Club David Murphy turned me on to your podcast. Great guy. No more trolling, Vaughn.
That's hilarious.
He coached my semi-pro football team and in the process taught me about my jacked up running form. I went from running 3 to 5 miles to getting close to the 10-mile mark. I really enjoy lifting, but have always said I want to be able to click off some miles while still being strong. No offense to ultra runners' physique, but I do construction and strength is a must. I recently sold my MTB and decided to get back into running and decided to run a marathon. I talked with David and told him my goals. I was in the thinking that to reach my goal, I would have to quit lifting heavy and go for a more cardio physique, which I was not stoked about. That was when he turned me on to your podcast. It changed my view on my thinking. It was really cool when you had Emily Reed on your podcast the other day. Great person. My little training I've done in CrossFit, she was one of the coaches at CrossFit Amend. Great gym. I'm currently doing a kettlebell-style WOD program to enter more of the CrossFit world while training for my first marathon. I know this review has dragged for a minute, but I did that on purpose to shout out for great people and so that Wilson can't complain about not getting any reviews for at least 1 week.
He is a regular listener.
I love y'all's conversations and banter, and y'all inspire me. Thanks for everything. What about Daniel?
Thanks, Daniel.
Wow,
that's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
Man, you
Thank
made
you,
my
Daniel.
week, dude.
Well, I have a shout out to give to the Idiots Running Club since that's where he came from.
Mm-hmm.
And we have numbers. At this point, there's like 8,000 people or probably even more in that group. But we have numbers when you started. You're not supposed to ask if you have numbers, but we do have numbers. And don't ask what your number is. But my number is 53. And so a while back, David made stickers where you could get your name or whatever you wanted to say and your number, and it says Idiots Running Club, and it says I'm not going to try to say it. It says rub some dirt on it backwards, and it looks like Spanish. But anywho, he sent out these stickers, and I was like, well, man, I got this transfer sticker now. He'll probably never sell these again. What am I going to put this thing on that it'll always be there? I don't know. And so I just happened to make a post on there, and I was like, I don't know what to put my sticker on. I'm going to have to get another one or something. He said, well, I'll send you another one. Give me your address. And then he never sent, and he forgot to send it. And so then the other day a while back, he messages me and he goes, hey man, I'm sorry. I forgot to send you that sticker I was talking about. So yesterday a package showed up with stickers. I got my little sticker with my name and my number 53. And he also sent this big one. You can't see it on the camera, but this is like a ginormous sticker that says LHRL number 153, Idiots Running Club.
Very cool.
And so now Wilson had the great idea that I'll put it on a black piece of cardboard,
Just hanging on the wall behind
hanging
you.
on the wall up here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Gonna be
So,
sweet.
Shout out to David Murphy and the Idiots Running Club.
Get just black marble stone. Like get something really fancy. Something really nice.
Something befitting what it is.
That's right.
right.
The Chris Hope 5K, Saturday, October 5th, 2019. ChrisHopeFoundation.org. Join Team LHRL. You can do a virtual race, or you can actually be there for the race.
I'm going to interrupt you. I was running today at lunch, and I was running. I was headed over to go across the bridge to go over to Arkansas, and this guy pops out, and he goes, hey, man, you're behind your pace. And I looked up, it was Chris Hope. He's standing there watching me run. So that's pretty funny.
And also the Big Hill Pond Walking Tall 25K and 50K is October 19th, 2019. You can do both of those. You can do October 5th, and then 2 weeks later, do Big Hill Pond Walking Tall.
Because if you can run a 10K, you can run a 50K.
Easily. Well, this is a 5K. Chris Hope is a 5K.
Oh.
But if you can do a
Still,
5K,
you can do a 5K, you
easily
can do a 50K.
Especially Chris Hope's 5K is going to be hilly. The Big Hill Pond Walking Tall is pretty
Not
flat.
hilly at all.
And cushiony.
It's like,
So
Fall,
what they
it's
call
like
it.
Fall
Easy.
Creek Falls, right?
They call it
It's pretty
cakey.
flat.
It's a cakey course. Pudding course is what they call it, I think.
And if you can do Chris Hope's 5K, you can just go to Tunnel Hill and do your 50 miler
Right.
because it's right after that.
That's
Or
right.
100, why
That's
not?
how that
Or 100.
works.
They go hundo.
Hyundai, walkingtall50k.com. That's all the orders of business that I have.
I don't believe you.
It's it. I mean, I have a schedule, but that's all.
We
that's
have,
like
I was going to say,
on
we've got
my
other things to
stuff.
talk about.
Take care of. We went to Ragnar this weekend.
How was that?
It was outstanding.
It was humid.
It was humid, I believe that.
It was
hot.
It was hot. We forgot our sleeping bags. We forgot our pillows.
Oh.
We forgot. What else did we forget?
You forgot your headlamp.
I forgot my headlamp. Who needs one of those to run in the middle of the night?
Right.
If it wasn't for all the other people there.
I don't do
Yeah.
trail races that require me to do anything overnight unless Dawn is going because she always has backup equipment for me.
Yeah.
She always has like an extra headlamp and other shit that I'm supposed to have with me and I never bring.
I'm usually really good and I make lists when I pack, so I don't forget anything. I work like 9 days in a row, so I literally am packing the day of and just shoving shit in my bag and don't even. I go out to ask him if he's got the sleeping bags, and he's already out in the car packing stuff, and I was like, I'll ask him in a second. Never thought about it again. We pull into the campground. I'm like, I didn't get the sleeping bags. Did you? He was like, nope. Awesome. I guess we're on the ground. At least we have our tent, but we're on the ground.
Yep.
But thank God Gary Owens and Sam Renfro came through, gave us their sleeping bags.
I require people at all times. I need people to
You
take
need
care
an
of me.
entourage. I mean,
And fortunately, I had that in every area, and I tend to. It seems like that I just luck out in the fact that everything that I get myself into, there's somebody there to kind of help me along. Where at Ragnar, we had Anthony Lane who set everything up, which it's a lot to set up. And
Sure.
here I am just like, okay, like I'll get you your money whenever, and I'll just be there in Atlanta. And he's like, you're the only guy that didn't enter your times. I don't respond to any of the things that he needs like information for. And then Ricky Cisco is there helping with the timing of everything. And if you don't have people on that, it could be a real clusterfuck.
sure.
Because you're waiting on people to come in. You have expected times of when they're going to come in, but when people start getting off or ahead 5 minutes, and then you don't know when somebody's going to be done.
I remember,
and they did a real good job of staying on top of that.
I thought it was Sean, but maybe it was Anthony last year. Had like this whole printed schedule of like at 7:35, Wilson goes out. At 8:15, Amanda goes out. Like it was like this whole schedule for every single loop
Yep.
that had to be done.
That's how we had it.
And then Gary Owens is he keeps his stuff packed. He was packed like 2 weeks ago. And so, it was good to have him there. Which Gary Owens, by the way, is a freakishly good runner for his size.
He's a sleeper.
He is a sleeper. I would put money on him if you put it in a box. If you say like, here are the times and consistently who's going to fall in here, Gary would be my number one every time. That guy, he doesn't have bad days. It's like, he'll be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And he still does it at Gary's pace.
Sure.
Or he'll be like, I really want to do this. I'm excited about this. And he does it at Gary's pace. You remember Tom Rathman, the fullback for the 49ers? I remember an announcer. I was watching him play football, and he said, man, you got to love a guy like Tom Rathman. If you need 3 yards, he'll get you 3 yards. If you need 5 yards, he'll get you 3 yards. That's kind of how Gary is. Gary's going to get you where Gary's going.
Whatever his pace is his pace. Good day, bad
All the
day.
time.
Otherwise, yeah.
He's
There you go.
incredible, man. It was a good time.
So this is the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast, right?
It is.
I think so.
We have a 5400 club, right?
We do.
Did you guys see the guy at the Boston Marathon who deadlifted 600 pounds
Animal.
and then ran the marathon afterwards?
The Boston
Oh,
Marathon.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That day, he did it in the same day.
Yeah, he
600 that
deadlifted
morning.
600 pounds and then, I'll go run the Boston Marathon.
Ran a 4 hour and 27-minute marathon.
That's fabulous.
Austin Malleolo?
I thought Malleolo probably.
Where's
was
he
it.
from?
I should probably have that information.
Did he
earlier.
find our group and
France.
just like, man, I need to go deadlift 600 pounds and run a marathon?
Well, I'm
'Cause
just
I'm
telling
hungry.
you,
Malleolo.
I think it's time for you to up your game, Vaughn.
I agree with you, man.
Malleolo.
I think I could do that.
Deadlift 600 pounds and run the marathon the same day.
But see, he set the bar so high running the Boston Marathon. I'll never be able to go run the Boston Marathon. I want to know the story. Like, did he qualify for the Boston Marathon, or did he pay the money to go run the?
I read in a
I didn't
comment.
know you could go.
You
I
can
thought
you
had
can
to
you can
qualify.
do charity fundraising. There are charities you can fundraise for.
But it's a lot of money. It's not a.
Yeah, I mean
no
it's
joke.
like several $1,000s.
I mean, they wouldn't want me running.
I
'cause
thought it was
run like a
15
5-hour
grand,
marathon.
but
Yeah, I'd be like 8 hours coming in.
yeah,
I'd have to raise like $1 million.
I would like to know if he qualified. If he qualified for it, that'd be even a better story. Some dude runs a 3:15 marathon and deadlifts 600 pounds.
I wonder
yeah.
if they have
Oh, he did it.
qualification.
He
time.
did it as a fundraiser on behalf of Reebok and Build Our Kids Success, whose goal is to raise $50,000 for Build Our Kids Success before the race, with each runner contributing $10,000. He finished in 4:27.
There still has to be some kind of parameters out there. Do you think that they have qualifying times based on, like, if you commit to raising this much money, you still probably have to run
No.
this fast? You don't think so?
No, because there are people that take 5 and 6 hours to run
Oh, there
the
are.
Boston Marathon.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Oh, okay. I just thought I'd never be able to. At least there's a glimpse.
I mean, I don't know what the
Out there.
absolute cutoff time is, but yeah, they're. I mean, and because you also got to consider that the qualifying time for 70, 80, 90-year-old is significantly slower than for a 30 or 40-year-old. So they got to allow them the time they need to be able to complete the marathon. I don't know what the elite time is for an 80-year-old, but it's probably still faster than I can run one.
I guarantee it.
Yeah, for sure.
He had a quote that said, "My goal was to deadlift 600 pounds and run the Boston Marathon in the same day. I figured not many people can do that, and it proves the CrossFit methodology is potent and effective, and we can create athletes that can have capacity at different ends of the spectrum."
Yep.
I like that.
Nice.
I like that too. And he's probably the only person that can do that. Like, there may be some other people out there that can deadlift 600 pounds and run a marathon in the same day. I want to know who those people are, because I bet there's not a handful of people.
Do you really think there's not a handful of people? I mean, I wouldn't know what the number would be.
If I set the cutoff at 4 hours and 30 minutes, I bet you there's 5 people
No kidding.
that could do it in
I'd
the
say
same.
the elite
they could do it in the same
CrossFitters like
day.
Matt Fraser. He
Not.
probably
I
could.
don't think he could run a 4.5 hour marathon.
Not today. I bet you could train for it and get there.
But
there's a lot
what
of
I'm
people that
saying
can
is,
train for it.
he's
There's
like,
not a
there's
lot
not
of
a lot of
people
people that can do it.
That
Like,
can do it.
Yeah.
Well, you don't think he trained a little bit for it? I mean, I don't think he relied.
I don't know. That's what this group is.
That's not the question. He's saying, I think he's right. I think there's probably not a lot of people that could do it. There's people that can train to do it, but at the moment, right now, there's probably not a lot of people that can
Fair
do
enough.
it. But I would like to know.
I would love to know, and this is
good
what
question.
that's what started this group. I would love to. That's the strongest and fastest dude that I've ever known.
If I ran,
Right.
if I could deadlift 600 pounds and could run a 4.5 hour marathon, I would assume that no one else in the world could. And I would just hold on to that
there
until
cannot be that
somebody
many.
upped and did it. But I mean, you were pretty much in search of people,
I've been looking for them for a long time.
and there's not a whole lot of them.
Yeah, and who knows?
Speaking of fast dudes, how about Rob Connor running 10
Whoa,
and a half
man.
at Wichita?
Oh my gosh.
He's on.
He was shooting for sub 12 and came up with 10 and a half.
God.
What-
That's
what-
awesome. Way to
it
go,
takes an
Rob.
hour.
And it was apparently bad
It
conditions.
was
Yeah, it
raining
looked
and
bad.
really bad
Yeah.
conditions.
It takes an hour to get up that damn hill. I mean, regardless of how fast you go. I mean, you can take it. Somebody as fit as Rob could easily tack on 40 minutes just going up those rocks.
Yeah.
Just 'cause you
Oh
have
yeah,
to.
yeah.
And so then all the rest. That's a hell of a time.
And his last 3 miles were at just over an 8-minute mile pace.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look, he's a mentally tough
Wow.
dude.
He's an animal. Like, he's got that mental thing that.
Former guest, look him up,
Well,
Rob Connor.
yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of animals, talk about a 70-year-old animal. Broke the world record for his marathon time. 70 years old.
Was it
saw
Boston Marathon?
No.
Oh.
2:54:23. Shut the front door and get out of my house.
70.
Yeah.
70 years old, 254.
Ran a sub 3.
6:39 a mile.
Holy moly. What is a what is it? How old was he?
70.
70 years old. What's the Boston qualifying time for a 70-year-old? You just were talking about old people qualifying times. And I was wondering if it does, because I wanted to say it got lower. I wanted to say the first time I tried it was 3:30, and the second time now it's 3:15.
Well, yeah, because they keep getting faster. But so what they've done, originally it was if you can meet this qualifying time, you are allowed to register. Now they've got so many people trying to register that the way it works is there is a cap on the number of runners, and I don't see quickly what that number is. But basically, like, for you and me right now, it's a 3:10 marathon to qualify, to even be able to register at all for it. Okay. But the way they do it is how much did you beat your qualifying time by?
Yeah.
If you and I'm making up numbers, but if you beat it by 20 minutes, you get to register on this day. If you beat it by 15 minutes, then you get to register a week after that. If you beat it by 10 minutes, you get to register a week after that. If you beat it by 5 minutes, it's a week after that. And then if you just got your qualifying time, but then when they sell out of spots, they're out of spots. So it could be that you ran a 3:09 to qualify, but by the time you were allowed to register, they ran 15 minutes faster, and so it filled up.
So what's the qualifying time for a 70-year-old?
For a 70-year-old man, you have to run a 4:20 marathon to qualify.
I would like to see the trajectory over time of the past 20 years. Trajectory, does it only go up, or can trajectory go down?
Trajectory implies a direction.
Would that be rejectory, dejectory, unject? I would like to see the times of 20 years, how much faster the qualifying times have gotten as people have become more fit.
Oh,
you understand what I'm saying?
I do understand.
Like,
I know the times have gone down. Let me see if I can figure out.
The times have gone down.
Is that what it is?
Is that right?
I've gotten faster.
They've gotten faster. Okay.
Yeah.
In vector or vector?
I don't know. Wouldn't it be the vector?
Radius.
I would like to see the vector.
Hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse. Show me your vector.
Throwing out math terms.
1970, a qualifying time was 4 hours.
For who?
It just says 4 hours. In 71, it was 3:30.
They probably didn't
72
even have
to
age groups.
76, it was 3:30. 77 to 79, if you were under 40, you had to run it in 3 hours. If you were over 40, you had to run it 3.5 hours.
I wonder if it started out just a one time for everybody.
I think that's
And
what
then
I'm looking
the
at.
age
I mean,
groups
I'm on
came along
I'm
later.
on the Boston Athletic Association's website right now. 1980, if you're under 40, you had to run it in 2 hours and 50 minutes. If you're over 40, 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Jeez, man.
It looks like it continues to be like under 40 is one number, and then so let's look. Let me just jump ahead. So from 1990 to 2002, 18 to 34-year-olds, 3 hours and 10 minutes. 35 to 39, 3 hours and 15 minutes. 40 to 44, 3 hours and 20 minutes. 70 plus was a 3 hour and 50 minute.
Okay.
2003 to.
It's fast.
Look it up.
It's still
At
fast.
Ragnar, there was a CrossFit division.
Yeah.
There was
I
a
saw
lot
your
of
note about
conversation by the professionals and the experts in the lift heavy run long community. who said
Reebok
that
and
there-
CrossFit hate each other, and now there's a lawsuit, and so they
and they gave a lot of reasons as to why there was not a CrossFit.
Well, now you know all of those reasons were wrong
They were wrong.
because there definitely was a CrossFit division.
Well, was there a CrossFit division or just CrossFit teams out there?
There was a
I saw
CrossFit
the team
division.
names. Okay.
According to Anthony.
Yeah,
Well,
because
on the website it said they had a CrossFit division, but then when we had the last week's discussion or whatever, then somebody said that they didn't have the division. I didn't say anything.
That's
so
what
I
he's
thought
talking
maybe
about.
I misread it.
Everybody was saying.
But on the website they were talking about the CrossFit division. I don't know. Anyway, they were there, and there was a ton of them. Everywhere you turned, there were different CrossFit shirts on, or Rogue or
Did
whatever.
you see anybody you knew or no?
No, but Chattanooga sat up right behind us, but I didn't know anybody in the tent. Scenic City Sports.
There was a bunch of F3 people out there.
Yep.
Not that I knew personally, but a huge representation of the group F3.
that's
You just saw
awesome.
their T-shirts? Or?
Yeah, I saw their T-shirts, and then I would go talk to them. I would hear conversations where they would refer to somebody by a nickname, and I could just kind of tell by the nickname was probably, and I would just ask, are you with F3? And they were. And then it was nice to, that kind of fraternal bond that's there. We were walking through like their tent area. We kind of got lost, and we stumbled in their hood. So instead of like beating us up, they would be like, I'm F3 too, man. Like, this is cool.
Did you see anybody with a lift heavy run long shirt on?
Nobody. I didn't see anybody that I knew at all. Nope.
I feel like maybe not. I was trying to think if last year if there was anybody there that we knew, but I don't guess there was other than our team.
There was a lot of shirts worn by me. That's a lot of changing, a lot of sweating.
Didn't forget clothes.
I didn't forget
forgot
clothes.
the sleeping bag, but you didn't.
I had the clothes to sleep on.
There you go.
It said that in the CrossFit news, CrossFit removes footwear restrictions at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, so it used to be that you had to wear Reebok because it was a Reebok CrossFit Games. So now that is not the case
It is not. That's a big deal.
I think they are steadily cutting more and more ties with Reebok.
That's been what's holding me back, is I don't perform well in Reeboks.
We've got another
Now
open
that I can
coming
wear-
in October.
Now that I can wear Uggs, my future's wide open.
I think you should CrossFit in your Crocs.
I saw Sarah Smorgasdorter holding up some Nikes. One of the daughters. Daughter. So
One of
that's
the
interesting.
daughters.
Oh, that's interesting. This article says that the shoe restriction was actually never part of the original contract with Reebok. They were implemented in 2014.
When they
This does not include apparel, though. Athletes will still be wearing Reebok supplied of clothing.
So they still have a contract with Reebok
Yes,
on some level, but just not the shoes?
correct.
That's odd, I guess. I don't know why it makes any difference.
Nike.
As I'm sitting here thinking, why would anyone care about this? And then I'm thinking, I'm the one that put it on the list.
I remember. Do you remember when?
No, I think it's interesting because I think some of these athletes have probably avoided, and or the shoe companies have avoided sponsorships because on the biggest stage that these athletes would be on, they wouldn't be able to wear that equipment. And so it was problematic. What was it, Lauren Fisher that did the Nike Metcons?
Dan Bailey did, didn't he? Or was it?
Brooke Entz did the
what's the other
Nobles for a
guy's
while.
Yeah, and so, but then when they get on like I said, the biggest stage that that CrossFit has, that we that weren't able to wear it or whatever. So I think it's a big deal. Then, it opens up sponsorship opportunities.
It might have been Josh Bridges that had started wearing Metcons. And then that year they put that big Nike Metcon trailer outside of the games.
That's awesome.
We listened to the Brooke Entz podcast on the way to Ragnar, and it was interesting to hear her talk about her stance on the games and sanctionals and kind of how that's playing out. And, she had some really good points about how few of the athletes, kind of what they're getting and signing up for, the cost that goes into going to an invitational or a sanctional with a limited amount of information of what's really going on, and the fact that the vast majority of these CrossFit Games people are not full-time just athletes
right.
like training in a gym like Ivan Drago. They got jobs and a hustle to take care of, and it made it sound sort of like on a kind of like a level of being disrespectful. That would be really annoying to not have something more set in stone than what's going on now.
Everything's so up in the air with Glassman. Nobody knows what he's thinking.
Or do you think it's just getting oversaturated? Like if you compare it to running, for instance, like you have to go and qualify for certain races to do all these things, but none of us are ever going to qualify for any of those races, pretty much. Like I may not ever be able to go run the Boston Marathon or whatever it is.
She made that distinction.
But now there's so many runners, and nobody trains full time and gets a sponsor to go run the Boston Marathon. They just do it. You know what I mean? Like a regular guy can just go train and have a full time 40-hour. He's about to say something smart ass, but anybody can do that. Not just anybody can be like, oh, I can work a 40-hour work week. And
Dan Bailey works
and go to.
And then went to the games.
He's not just anybody.
Well, I know
either,
but he still works full time.
Right, but if we put the data together and you said how many people qualify for the Boston Marathon and how many people qualify for the CrossFit Games, it's not even
there's not
close.
A good comparison there.
So do you think it's just a response to the field getting much larger in CrossFit to where now we have to just change the way these games work because
I think that's why sanctionals are more important because at this point, prior to the sanctionals being a thing, you had to qualify in your region, and that was the only way you could go. So if you didn't do well at that region, then you weren't going to the games.
But now it's even harder, right? Or is it easier now?
I think it's harder, but you have more opportunities. Mm-hmm. Just like the Boston Marathon, you don't have just one opportunity to show up and qualify for the Boston Marathon, and then you get to go run the Boston Marathon.
You have more opportunities.
You have more opportunities to qualify for the Boston Marathon. So, let's just say that, I am that athlete that could have made it to regionals or whatever. I go show up at, the first competition, and I take fourth. Okay, well, crap, I didn't make it there, so
Well,
let me go
so
over
then
here and take
maybe
another
I'm
one.
right then. Maybe it is a response to the whole thing just growing up to give more people more of an opportunity to.
I think I think it's still a very narrow field of people that have the opportunity to go to the games, but those people that are in that narrow field have more opportunities to go.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because
then-
like you get somebody like the way the regionals were set up before. Rich Froning could only compete in Central East, and he either made it or he didn't make it. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But now he could do Central East, he could do Central West, he could do North. He could do California. He could, those aren't really where all the sanctionals are, but he could go compete at several places until he finally, either runs out of opportunities or qualifies.
And potentially he could do like a runner does and be like, I know nobody's going to show up to this 5K race, so I can just go win my age group.
Right.
And so he could find a place where he could do that,
That was another point that she made that I thought was interesting, and maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but when you go to one of these sanctionals, you have to win.
Yep.
There's not it's typically with regionals and the open and the way that that's gone is like, to whittle it down to the best. If there's a 5K and that, 4 or 5 of the best guys in Memphis are going to be there, well, they're going to finish in, wherever they finish in. But you can go and really perform at a high level and just not hit your mark and be, I think that having to go and win outright is that's a shock.
It's
that's
not a
lot.
top 3 thing. It's number one male and female for a sanctional get to go to the games.
And a guy that you could beat 19 times out of 20 just has a good day that day, and then that just continuously happens, and you don't ever get your shot.
Right.
So all the usual suspects of CrossFit aren't necessarily going to be at the CrossFit games.
True story.
But
and the other advantage, I'm sorry, is with it being different sanctionals, is there's also different events. It's not 100 different regionals around the world all doing the same 5 or 7 events or whatever. Like every sanctional is going to be different. It's not it's not the same 5 events over and over again.
Some of them have group sanctionals, and some of them don't.
Teams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately, I think we're going to see a more interesting mix of people at the games that didn't necessarily make it in the open or wouldn't have made it at regionals, but are very capable and fit in their own right. They just couldn't compete against the other people in their area to the point that they were relevant. So we'll see.
It'll be interesting, though, at the games how they kind of pick off one at a time instead of going through so many workouts. They cut them as they go. So you could show up from Australia.
That the way? I didn't even know that's the way the games are going to work.
And go through your first round and get beat, and you go home. You get that one chance, and you're gone. Yeah, they'll knock you off as you go. So as the days go further, there's
less and less people competing after each event.
And that's significant. Yeah. If you get to an event and you're like, once I get to that, squat scheme, then I'm going to kill it. Well, before you get there, you got to go through this, high cardio workout.
You got to beat 20 other people at Murph first or whatever.
When you're used to that's kind of what CrossFit is the great equalizer. So you get, there's all kinds of workouts. And
I didn't realize that's the way the games were going to be formatted. No, interesting.
So that could come into play. We were talking about the times for Boston.
Yep.
And I was looking at the times to qualify for the Olympics.
Yeah.
What do you think that the qualifying time to run a marathon is for the Olympics?
It's under.
And we're talking about for the U.S. Olympic team, right?
I was thinking 2:30, 2:15.
Yeah, I was thinking 2:40.
What do you think it is for the women?
3:05.
No, it's not that much of a difference, I don't think. I would say 2:45.
For the men,
is that what you just said?
You have to run a 2 hour, 11 minute, and 30-second marathon.
Oh.
For the women, you have to run a 2 hour, 29-second.
29-minute, 30
2 hour, 29-minute, 30-second marathon. Your 1,500 meters, qualify for the 1,500. What is that? That's just less than a mile.
Yeah. That's 1,500, yeah.
What do you think that is? A mile is 1,600 meters.
Correct.
Anybody want to take a stab at it?
3:15.
No, it's 4:28.
Tree 35.
3:35
For men, 4:04 for women.
Woo.
I will never see the number for.
So that's weird talking about qualifying for things. I could if I could do it, I could go run that race and get into the Olympics.
You could join the Olympic team.
Join the Olympic team.
You
right.
qualify for the Olympic team.
There was a dude on Joe Rogan the other day who decided he wanted to go to the Olympics or be on the Olympic team, so he picked archery. He was like, I know nothing about archery, but I want to go to the Olympics, so I'm going to learn archery and get as good as I can in archery and qualify for the Olympics. And then it hit me. I was like, man, I guess you can do that. Like if you got really good, if you get good enough, you can just go qualify for the team. Whatever sport. I guess basketball or basketball, you probably couldn't do that, right?
Maybe I'm just a negative Nelly, but like I feel like there has to be some innate talent in him for him to be able to achieve the skill level that it requires to qualify in archery. Like I don't know that if we took 100 people and put them through the same training program that he went through, I would be willing to bet we wouldn't end up with 100 people that were capable of qualifying in archery for the Olympic team.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like he's got some
right.
You know, and it's funny because like I did was it my DNA test or was it something else that I did that talked about like different muscles and stuff like that, and you know, and how my body type I am more prone to have slow twitch muscles than fast twitch muscles. So I will be a better lifter than a runner, and I think a better jumper than a sprinter type thing.
Right.
But they were quick to say in the description of it that like this, knowing this genetic makeup and that you have this DNA that leans you towards one way or the other is only going to matter when you get into that top 5% of people. Like if you're training at the level where you've done everything perfectly well, then you are going to have a genetic advantage in this area once you get to that certain level, if that makes sense. And so I just think, it's not as simple as just saying, oh, I'm going to go train for archery, and I mean, and not that I'm, he probably trained very, very hard and worked really hard at it and got, and built the skill and all that kind of thing. But I just don't know that it's that simple for everybody.
I was in the choir at Mississippi State and they waived my out-of-state tuition.
Sorry, I couldn't hold it.
They would let anybody in the choir.
Okay.
And then they'd give you free out-of-state tuition. So I was on scholarship to sing. I don't know really what this has to do.
Some talents take less skill than others.
They cut me, though. They did cut me. They don't usually cut people, but I didn't make the cut. Do y'all remember Dan and Dave, the track guys? Do you remember those guys?
I don't think I do.
I think they were what's
Bob and Doug.
What's the decathlon? Is that the 10?
Yep.
10 thing? They were going to do the shot put, discus, javelin, all that stuff. And they were so hyped up. They had Nike commercials about them. Or maybe it's Reebok commercials. And then one of them flopped and didn't even make the cut, didn't even qualify. So they had these huge sponsorships. They had Nike commercials for the Olympics, and then they didn't even make it.
Reebok.
Was it Reebok?
Well,
I need to. Where are they now?
1992 Olympics.
Where are they now?
Dan and Dave was an advertising and merchandising campaign by American shoe manufacturer Reebok during the build-up to the 1992 Summer Olympics in Barcelona.
Skip to the part where he's like 280 pounds and hadn't done anything. Owns a barbecue restaurant.
In June 2017, Johnson and O'Brien were the subjects of and participants in ESPN's Radio 30 for 30 podcast, The Trials of Dan and Dave.
Oh, really?
Famous ad campaign and its aftermath.
Wilson loves his 30 for 30.
I love 30 for 30. Do you watch 30 for 30?
I do. Well,
they were on a
watch it
podcast.
Yeah, well, I'll listen to that just because it's called 30 for 30.
The Trials of Dan and Dave.
I'll support anything 30 for 30.
But 1992 was the days of the Reebok pump, wasn't it?
I had some.
I had some.
Both
of that.
were inducted into the Oregon
days,
Sports Hall of
Pump
Fame.
that tongue up.
We were sitting in chapel, and our friend had bought, her mom had got her son. We pumped it till we blew the thing out. Her mom was so mad. Oh, yeah, we just like, tee, 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 tee.
Oh, that's interesting. So this whole thing was created by Reebok, and the campaign led to both receiving endorsements from other companies, including O'Brien with Nike in 1993. Despite a foot injury, Johnson won a bronze medal in Barcelona. He retired from competition shortly after the games. O'Brien went on to win a gold medal in '96 Olympics in Atlanta.
I didn't know he won a gold medal. What year did Dan flop out?
Dan is O'Brien. He retired after.
No, when did he get cut? What year did the guy shit the bed and not make it to the Olympics?
I'm guessing
92.
I'm guessing that he didn't make it in '92, but he qualified in '96, and that's where he won the gold.
And won a gold.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I take back everything I said bad about these guys.
Because one of them won a
redemption.
bronze in '92, the other one won a gold in '96.
Wow. All right, well,
Comeback kid right
that,
there.
Dan and Dave. I've never won either of those in anything.
You wouldn't take the medal anyway. You'd give it away.
True story.
You
Oh
just throw
man,
it away.
that would be a moment to be a part of. Wilson Horrell takes the gold medal in whatever event
Doesn't
in
wanna keep up
underwater
with it.
basket weaving,
He's like,
and
Throws his gold
and-
medal in the
and he-
trash can on the way out.
and they go to
go
hang
get
the medal over
pizza.
him, and he just waves them off. He just waves them off.
I don't want to keep up with it.
Throws it in the garbage can at
It's just
Dodger
another
store
thing.
while he's getting pizza afterwards.
And picking up a sponsorship check.
Right.
I read this. I've been dying to talk about this. I didn't read it. I watched it on TV when I was at Darby's. You know, Darby's Pool and Spa, where I hang out and get my.
Speaking of Darby, Mr. Darby is watching.
He is.
oh,
You know, I
would-
spend about a third of my time up there.
He
And he
would
owns a tire
really
store
appreciate
here
it if
locally.
you would move the Mississippi State cornhole from behind
He's
you
not
because
getting
it's
that.
distracting.
We're not getting into that. We're not getting into that. So I'm up there enjoying my day, watching his television, eating his popcorn, and sucking up his Wi-Fi. And it was talking about this NFL coach who's allowing his players to take social media breaks every 20 to 30 minutes.
This has got to be like a millennial thing.
Totally. And that's where I thought the conversation would be good. And kind of what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I have said this more often than I care to admit lately, but I keep repeating it. I hate to talk about stereotypes, but stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And millennials get such a bad rap about so many things that I think ultimately really aren't their fault. But that definitely feels like a generational thing of the generation that grew up with social media, that they cannot be disconnected from it for too long of a period as a whole. Not that there aren't exceptions to that, people that don't give a crap about social media, but that's just kind of crazy to me that like
What was the thing?
He's given his players breaks every 20 to 30 minutes so they can check Instagram and check their Facebook and get with their followers. And it's he's trying to make an effort to be a player's coach. And I get that, but the argument was he hasn't proven anything as a coach to go in and be laying down these new guidelines. But I think it's interesting to see what, some people are capable of making people perform for them. And I think it'd be cool to see what kind of impact that has.
yeah, I think it's an interesting experiment at a minimum, to see whether or not he can keep his players engaged. And
You find the players that have someone else run that social media for them, and you're like, hey, come with me. You're on my team.
I don't know.
It's the reality of it. And I think that probably coaches at all level have to deal with that at some degree.
I mean, I want to say for a long time, I don't know, man, part of me wants to say it's bad practice because at least at one point, and I don't know that it's still true, NFL players were like they would get fined if they tweeted or posted any kind of social media stuff during a game. Like that was a thing. Like they would be fined if they were
I didn't know
doing
they could have
that.
phones down there, honestly.
I can't believe any of those guys really post.
It happened often enough that they, It's
I can
kind
totally
of like
believe
that
that
sign
those
that says, you must wear shirt and shoes to enter this restaurant. Like, that sign is there because somebody tried to come in without a shirt and shoes on. Like, they don't just arbitrarily make up these rules. They made up these rules because somebody was doing
Walked
it.
into their
So
store naked at one point. I'm going to be curious to see how my son, who's 12, how his generation grows up, because he doesn't care about phones. And he doesn't care about social media. Like, he doesn't know of it.
Right, and I'm saying I think there are going to be exceptions to it.
I just wonder. I don't see these kids that come into the gym. They don't carry phones. They're not like they don't. The adults are like stuck with their heads in the phone. I'm one of them.
Right.
But Jackson, I give him a phone and I can't make him use social media.
That's all the time?
Like he just leaves it. Like, where's your phone? Why didn't you bring your phone to school? Like,
part of it's an age thing, but also we may be coming to that generation that we've reached the oversaturation of social media, and so they're getting back to the point of being unconcerned. But how old is Jackson?
12.
Yeah, so he's about to hit that age where it's going to become a lot more relevant because all of his friends are going to have cell phones.
Maybe. I mean, Abby was that way already, though. She's 21 now, and when she was 12 to 13, she was like, ooh.
So between my kids and grandkids, like, it's probably an even split about whether they cared at like 12, 13, 14 about having a cell phone, but guaranteed by the time they were 17, 18,
older,
it was, it was an extension of their hand. So I just found a news article from August 31st, 2009, and it said there is a $2,500 fine if they use it during the game. They're allowed to post before or after the game, just not during. And it's a rule because Chargers cornerback Antonio Cromartie was fined $2,500 by the team for criticizing the food service at training camp on Twitter.
Do you think LeBron James runs his own Instagram?
I've never seen his Instagram, so it would be hard for me to.
It doesn't matter to me. Like I would say.
I think it's a combination. So I've got a good friend that's a country music singer. She's got a contract. She tours all over the world. And she has access to her Twitter, to her Instagram, to her Facebook, but she also has a team that can post for her.
Right.
So some tweets are hers, some tweets are not hers.
I don't think Donald Trump really does his tweets.
Oh, I do.
I don't. I have this conspiracy theory where some marketing person somewhere, the most expert Twitter troll in the entire world, is being paid money to do what they're doing. There is no possible way that any human being could tweet the things that he tweets. He's a genius. He is a genius Twitter troll. Like, he is the most. There is no better troll on the internet than he is.
Whoever's tweeting for him.
Or whoever.
Well, if there's somebody,
doing it for
that
him.
would be even better. If there's somebody doing it for him that's good enough to be that Trumpish and still not be
There
Trump.
is no way that he could be doing that on his own.
You don't think?
There's not in my mind whatsoever.
I don't keep up. I just see stuff every once in a while.
So
like,
it's so bad. Like, it's so bad that you're like, how could he say that? What is wrong with this person? It's brilliant. He's paying somebody to do it for him. Somebody is doing it. So
Emily Reed says that she's pretty sure LeBron runs his own account because there are way too many videos of him just lip syncing the wrong words to rap songs for it to be someone else doing it.
So do we have any hypotheticals this week?
we have a hypothetical. I don't have my phone out, so I can't do the
What are you doing, man?
I'm not doing good.
This is amateur hour.
You can sing it.
Vaughn, you want to
It's
sing
time
it?
for hypotheticals.
Hypotheticals. It's so fun. It's really easy.
Oh, today's Charlie's birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Charlie.
Yay, he's 6 years old.
That's my dog.
By the time this episode is released next week, right?
Yep.
Dawn will have had a birthday.
Happy birthday, Dawn.
Happy birthday.
Dawn's birthday is Saturday.
All right. Nice. Would you? Who's going to answer this? Who's up?
Vaughn.
Who's up?
Vaughn's up.
Let me know you want it.
I'm always up. I'll be first.
All right. There's only one.
There's only
What?
one. I'm ready.
Honestly, I didn't do a very good job of preparing. So this is even a rollover from last week that I forgot to read. So
I'm okay with that. The conversation has gone well today. I feel like we do better when we prepare less, more often than not.
Probably right. But it is good to have some preparation.
Yeah, it's good to have some backup, though, just in
Always good
case.
to have something to fall back
In case
on.
we got to, get Vaughn off of a Trump talk or anything like that.
Well, you remember, Vaughn, you were the one that came up with the idea of us doing more
Hypotheticals.
of a host show, which I
Yes.
love.
Yes.
And part of that was the content that we would come up with, which you are batting over on content
I don't know what that means.
at all. Like you've come up with nothing to put on the Google Docs.
Well, kick me out. I don't know what to say.
I still can't get to the Google Docs.
Would you rather have to sing instead of speak all of your words in an amazing singing voice for the rest of your life,
Yes.
or get stuck in situations that you have to sing twice a month in a terrible singing voice?
I am going to do the former,
Yes.
Twice a month.
and I am going to have a beautiful singing voice.
No, you're not. It's going to be bad.
No,
He
no.
said the former, not the
He
latter.
said the former, not the latter.
Oh, the
first.
former.
Yeah. Yeah. Come at me about content now, bitch.
We were just discussing how we get hung up on which one.
I never know if it's the former or the latter.
Or the later. So you would rather sing all the time.
Yeah, I took a real gamble on that one. Paid off.
So every time you talk,
Every time.
every conversation you have.
How awesome would that be?
I think it'd be pretty awesome. I would
I
sing
think
too.
it would annoy the shit out of everybody you were around.
Oh my gosh, it'd be horrible.
They would say they'd love it because you'd have such an angelic
they
voice.
Nobody would want to talk to me.
But
then.
you know what?
Yeah.
His introverted self would be very happy because nobody would want to talk to him, as opposed to
sounds
the
good, too.
introverted self who would be drawing attention to himself. Where twice a month he had to publicly sing awfully, and he would be the center of attention.
Yes, you should make some more coffee.
That's a valid point. That's some good thought going into that.
I think that's.
Who's next?
I'll go ahead.
I would sing.
You would sing,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Yeah.
You have a really nice singing voice.
I really don't.
Yes, you do.
I'm
How
an
can
alto.
you say that?
I'm an alto.
You're in the choir.
What does an alto mean?
I'm
That is the
under
range.
sopranos.
That's
it's
the
like
range that
I'm like
she's-
low. I can sing tenor too when they need tenor.
I thought bass was the low one.
Yeah, bass is
I would
low.
pick bad singing.
Bass is like both between.
Because it
Bass,
turns out I
tenor,
already
alto,
bad
soprano.
sing probably twice a month. I just don't do it publicly. And I think it would be a good growing experience because I would hate being the center of attention and the center of public humiliation, but I think you would just get used to it.
You think so?
I would.
Twice a month. That's a lot, man.
I'd do it.
Oof.
I think
What days of the month would you pick? Like the first and the last, or like
I
2
guess
days in
it
the middle?
depend on
I
what
would
venue.
probably go to Mississippi Ale House karaoke night twice a month, and I would just have Gary set up like an hour session where it was just me.
Speaking of which, Katie asked me to come tomorrow night just to sit with her while she ran karaoke after I got
Awesome.
done with choir.
Awesome.
I thought that was nice. I haven't been there in a long
You
time.
can warm up your voice at choir and then go sing some songs.
Yeah. I will not sing karaoke.
Are you going to do that before or after or during watching Hazim do his thing?
Forgot about that. I want to be at choir.
Wah, wah.
Look
Aw,
at that.
Sorry, Katie.
You're going to be at choir.
Nice catch.
I won't be at
No.
choir.
You won't be at choir?
No.
No.
Oh my gosh, I have our Easter stuff. Sorry,
You're going
Todd.
to get in
You're gonna
trouble.
get a demerit.
Yep. You are. You're going to get kicked out of church.
choir.
Whoops.
That's going to be a
Oh,
problem.
well.
Yikes.
Let's see what had happened was
He let the camera go dead again.
it just happened.
Did you forget about the camera?
I didn't forget.
You didn't forget about the camera the other day for very long. You were concerned about that. It wasn't any time.
Yeah, every once in a while I get caught up in the conversation and I realize that I'm like looking at Vaughn and talking to Vaughn, but the camera's still pointed at you, and it's a great view when
Yeah.
it's pointed at you. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong,
No.
but I think you want it pointed at the person that's.
I can be very distracting because I come up with so much great content.
just off the cuff content. It's amazing.
We're out of time.
Oh,
It goes away so
makes me
fast.
sad.
Does
It was
anybody
another
have-
great week, though.
It was a great week, and it'll be an even better one next week. Anybody else have anything they need to talk about? Anything they want to get off their chest? That's it?
Someone asked me the other day if you died today and you could tell, and there was something you didn't tell somebody, what would it be? And I still can't come up with an answer.
That's good. That is good, because if you have something, then you need to go tell that person that thing right now.
I agree.
That you do.
I agree.
Yep.
Because that's like the guidance counselor question. Like, if you didn't have to work for money, what would you do? And whatever you pick, that's what you should go do, because money shouldn't be the reason why you go.
Yeah. And then
to
I
a
realized,
job.
is that a good thing, or should there be people that I have some shit that I want to say to them that I haven't said?
No. That means you either say what you want to say when it needs to be said, when you want to say it, or that you're not the kind of person that carries stuff around with you and you just kind of let it roll off your back. And either way, I think that's a less stressful life to live. So I think you're doing it right.
Well, okay.
That's my 2 cents.
Man, I had a whole list of stuff from the Lift Heavy Run Long community feed that I wanted to talk about. We didn't talk about any of it.
Well, next week we got plenty of content.
Are we going to carry it over to next week? Can you do that?
Yeah. That's
Or
what
is
we
the
do.
content old and stale by then?
No, it's not old and stale. It's never old and stale.
It's never old and stale.
So what do
I
they do?
like
Send
your
in
spirit.
like topics and questions?
I was just cruising through the community feeds that I thought were interesting.
Okay.
Had a lot of comments and things.
Yeah, sometimes Brooke and them open up, say, hey, send us questions and comments, and we'll talk about it.
Now I want to
we've-
talk about all this stuff. But
We've done that in the past.
Lift Heavy Run Long number 143 is in the books.
Boom.
Thanks for listening.
I love you.
Damn it! I want to talk about the community stuff. Time management. Got to do a better job of time management. 143.